he at one point, um, Shalva also faints in the airplane, but he recovers immediately and starts attacking back. Meanwhile, Shalva's commander-in-chief also recovers, and then he runs towards Pradyumna with his club and hits Pradyumna on his chest, and Pradyumna falls unconscious. Then his charioteer, he immediately drives Pradyumna out of far away from the battlefield, so that Pradyumna can recover. And Pradyumna, after recovering, he feels very much agitated that why his charioteer took him out of the battlefield. So he immediately starts discussion, or starts chastising his charioteer, saying that why did you bring me from the battlefield? What will my dad and my uncle like Krishna and Balaram, they will think of me, that I deserted the city without protecting the citizens, and what will the ladies in the kingdom, they will start laughing at me. And then the charioteer says, Pradyumna, my duty is to protect the warrior who is on the chariot. As per the scriptures, it is a mutual feeling. Means the person who is fighting should protect the charioteer, and when given the chance, the charioteer should also protect the fighter. So as for that, I took you to a safe place. Now that you have recovered, I am going to take you back. So he brings Pradyumna back, and the battle continues, and it continues for, I think, many days. And meanwhile, as we discussed, Krishna was in Indraprastha with the Pandavas, because after the Rajasuya Yajna is complete off, and the kings all leave the place, Krishna also wants to leave, but based on the request from King Maharaj Yudhishthir, Krishna stays back to give some more of his association to all the residents there. But Krishna starts seeing at the time some bad omens, where he can see that his citizens in Dwarka, his family is in danger. So he immediately takes permission from the Pandavas, and especially their Pandavas' mother, Kunti, and all the elders there, and he starts towards Dwarka. And meanwhile, the battle was still going on, and as soon as he reaches the entrance of Dwarka, he immediately asks Balaram to take the strategic position of protecting the city from all the other warriors, and he himself starts attacking Shalva. And a huge battle starts happening, and Shalva attacks with all his might. Krishna retaliates, he fights back, he attacks Shalva, and he injures him, and so many things happen. And Shalva, being a mystic, he is a demon who has so many mystic tricks. He does a trick where he creates an illusion as if the messenger of Devaki comes in front of Krishna, saying that, "Hey, Krishna, please help. Um, Shalva has kidnapped Vasudeva, and Vasudeva is in his custody. We need to do something." So Devaki sent me for asking for help. And Krishna appears to be a little bit bewildered by this trick played by Shalva. And while watching, when Krishna is watching, then he was immediately thinking, how come the city which was protected by Balarama be overcome by Shalva's army? How is it even possible that someone can defeat Balarama and go inside and capture Vasudeva like that? And he starts nodding his head and thinking down like that. And then Shalva also continues his mystic illusion as if he was cutting off the head of Vasudeva right in front of Krishna. And Krishna was so much agitated with that, and he appeared very morose and very sad. And there is a huge discussion about this whole pastime, that how come Krishna, being the supreme personality of Godhead, who never comes under the influence of Maya, he is aloof from all this illusion, appeared to be bewildered by this mystic trick played by Shalva. But then Krishna, it has to be understood that Krishna is playing the pastime in the role of a human being. So sometimes he wants to give pleasure in various ways, and in this way he himself appeared to be bewildered. And we have seen these various instances also where um, when during the Damodar pastime, when Mother Yashoda starts chasing Krishna with the stick, he really feels very much afraid of his mother, and he feels very panicked, and then he starts feeling like shivered that his mother is going to beat him, and all that is really the one that he covers himself with the illusion. And it's not just for in the case of his devotees. Sometimes he also does this with his enemies also. So where, yeah, he appeared to be bewildered, but it's actually not, because he immediately understands that this is an illusion, and he comes out of that pastime, and um, he throws his club and bursts Shalva's airplane into multiple pieces, and it falls into the sky. Shalva, before it crashes, he immediately escapes himself by jumping on the land, and he starts running towards Krishna to start fighting. And Krishna doesn't waste any time anymore, because he spent too much time giving Shalva the opportunity to like do havoc and all, but he immediately takes his disc out and cuts off Shalva's head. So that ends the pastime where how Krishna ends kills Shalva. But then Shalva has you see all the birds of a feather flock together, and then enemy of an enemy is your friend. So similarly, this Shishupala, Shalva, Paundraka, these are all friends, and they also had one more friend. His name is Dantavakra. And he, as soon as he hears the news about Shalva's death, he wants to avenge for his friend's death, and he starts running towards Krishna. He is so foolish that he doesn't come with an army. He thinks that he alone can fight Krishna, and he just takes his club and starts running towards Krishna on the battlefield. But he's so strong that as he is running, the earth starts trembling. But Krishna saw that Dantavakra came alone without anyone. He just with his club. He did not want. He knows the rules of the battlefield, so immediately Krishna steps down from his chariot, and he also takes his own club to match the what Dantavakra was also carrying, and taking his club. The club of Krishna is called Kaumodaki, and with a single blow he splits the heart of Dantavakra, and he starts vomiting blood, and he immediately falls down to the ground, and within a few moments Dantavakra is dead. So what we can understand is that the club of Krishna is so strong, and it is there to protect. We have also seen so many pastimes of this, right, where um, even like Lord Yama says to his followers, the Yamadutas, when they go for Ajamila, and they were stopped by the Vishnu Dutas, and when they go back and ask Yamaduta, hey Yama, like we thought you are the supreme judge, who is this person? And then Yama says that no, there is one more supreme judge than me, who is Krishna himself, and if there are any devotees, don't even dare to go near them, because the Krishna's Gada, like the Vishnu's Gada, it's the Kaumodaki, is always there protecting them. It forms like a dome around them, and no bad force can do anything to the devotees. But instead, go and bring me the people who don't even chant the holy name of Krishna even once in their life, who don't even use their eyes to go to the temple and see the deities, who don't even use the ears to hear about the sweet pastimes of Krishna. So, whenever someone becomes a devotee of Krishna, immediately his club will come and forms a protective dome around them, and it is no it is there to protect them always, and it immediately makes the devotees aloof from even the Yamadutas. And if at all a devotee doesn't achieve perfection and has to take another body, it is the Vishnudutas who come and give the devotee a second chance, if at all the devotee doesn't succeed in going back home, back to Godhead in the single life. So it is, the analogy was given was like, if you see um, a cat holding a rat in its mouth, and also you see a cat holding a kitten in its mouth, both appear to be like the cat is holding them, but the cat's grip or the bite on the mouse is deadly, but at the same time the cat holding the kitten is so gentle. So similarly, when a non-devotee dies, it is the Yamadutas who come and fiercely or like forcefully pull the soul out of the body, because the soul, as soon as it enters into the body, it spreads itself into all the different nerve endings in the body. So the soul doesn't want to leave the body so easily. So a great force has to be applied. So Yamadutas with their Yamapashas, the ropes, they pull that soul out, and it's so painful. It is mentioned that the pain is around the pain the living entity feels when the soul is being pulled out is equal to around 10,000 or 40,000 scorpion bites. But on the other hand, if the Vishnu Dutas come and the devotee is not perfected yet and have to give a second chance, it is as gentle as a cat taking the kitten from one place to another. So it will be, and the devotee will feel no pain at all. So coming back to the pastime, and Dantavakra also had a brother named Viduratha, and in order to avenge the death of his brother, he also appears before Lord Krishna with a sword and shield in his hands. And Krishna doesn't waste any time, and he cuts off Viduratha's head using his Sudarshan Chakra. So we all have seen that Shishupala is um, also the Jaya, right? And we come to understand that Dantavakra is Vijaya. So Jaya and Vijaya have taken three um, births in this material world as enemies of the Lord. Those are like during the Satyuga as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Varaha, and Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Narsimha. And then Lord Rama kills both the second lives of Jaya and Vijaya as Ravana and um, Kumbhakarna. And in the third one, Krishna kills both Shishupala and Dantavakra. So that completes their pastimes, and they go back to Vaikuntha as Jaya and Vijaya. Meanwhile, Um, then Sukadeva Goswami continues to tell about the glories of Lord Balarama also in this time, and he says that um, during when the battle between Pandavas and Kauravas is almost confirmed, Lord Balarama tries one more time, like as a mediator, to also stop the fighting between Kauravas and Pandavas, because he wants he is favorable to both the family members, and he doesn't want both of them to fight and die. Although he understands the purpose of Krishna, which is to, and he being the supreme lord, he also knows what was the purpose of their incarnation, which is to reduce the burden on the earth by these very passionate Kshatriya kings who are who are exploiting the mother nature very badly. So that has to be done. But he still feels that like that both Pandavas and Kauravas are favorable to him. So he tries one more time to stop that fight, but stop the fighting. But they don't. He sees that it is not working out. He doesn't want to take any active part in the battle on both sides, so he leaves Dwarka on the plea of that he wants to visit the holy places. So he goes to different places. He first visits the pilgrimage known as Prabhasa Kshetra, and then the book or in the Bhagavatam, all the places that he went through were described. From Prabhasa Kshetra, he goes to various other places. He gradually comes to the holy place known as Naimasharanya. Naimasharanya is the same place where Suta Goswami is telling about the Srimad Bhagavatam that Sukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj, to all the sages that are assembled there. So Naimasharanya is generally the location where all the transcendentalists assemble to discuss about spirituality and then how to make progress in self-realization. Even before Sota Goswami, that has been the case, and that was the location. And even that Naimisharanya is currently still there in India. And when Balarama reaches that place, there is a great sacrifice going, which is where all the transcendentalists have assembled to discuss about the spiritual topics. And there, what happens, as soon as Balarama reaches that location, all the transcendentalists that have assembled there will stand up and offer obeisances to Balaram, Lord Balaram, and they either completely offer obeisances or at least stand up and fold their hands and offer obeisances. But what happens, there was one uh, sage or Maharshi who is, his name is Romaharshana, who is sitting on the Vyasasan, and he doesn't stand up, he doesn't offer his obeisances. And his name is Romaharshana Sutta, and Lord Balram observes that. And Romaharshana Sutta was a great, a learned person. He was actually not a Brahmana by birth, but then he was selected by all the Brahmanas there based on his Vedic knowledge and all. He was born of a Brahmana mother and a Kshatriya father. But of course, it doesn't matter when somebody becomes a like starts practicing the um, or so it's not a restriction for someone to pursue Vedic knowledge. But then when the Supreme Lord Balram himself, he notices that he was not following he did not understand the essence of the Vedic scriptures. Then he considers his birth, because before punishing, he sees that whether what was the reason why he did not follow the Vedic instructions. So we will see later in the pastimes of Sudama how what is the difference between just Vedic knowledge and how what is knowing the essence of the Vedic knowledge itself. Here, Romaharshana was a very learned scholar. He understood, he read all the Vedic knowledge, and the Vedic knowledge, the Vedas say that if someone is sitting on a Vyasasan, they are in that assembly, they are the topmost. They don't have to stand up to anyone, they don't have to bow to anyone. But then, what is the essence of the Vedic knowledge? Which is to offer as obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Means if someone, or which is essentially to become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. And everyone knows that both Krishna and Balaram are the Supreme Lord himself in his two forms. One is the Supreme Lord himself, and one as the servitude Lord, which is always rendering service to Krishna. So, as if someone knew the essence of the Vedas, they should have immediately offered their obeisances, not following the rules and regulations strictly. And goes back to the same thing where Bhagavatam Vyasadeva says that um, this cheating religion has to be removed. And even though if Romaharshana may not be willing to cheat, because without being qualified, the sages, all the great sages would not selected him. But out of foolishness or out of strictly following the rules by the book, he felt that he was doing the right thing. But again, we have to understand that there are various grades of the dharma. One, we know that there is no dharma, first of all, in an animalistic form of life where people don't even care about the Vedic scriptures. For them, death comes and takes them to the lower forms immediately. But then the next one is a swadharma. People will think that, oh, I have to take care of my family and this, that. But they don't they follow the Vedic injunctions only for their own sense gratification. But then somebody starts following the Sanatan Dharma, which says that you have to work towards self-realization. You have to do yoga, whether it is karma yoga or jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga. But then they stop there. But above the Sanatan Dharma is the Bhagavata Dharma. Bhagavata Dharma is, you should know, Sanatan Dharma is only useful to a point where it might give you some kaivalya, liberation to the but it doesn't, it should not stop there. We should use our human form of life to reach the Bhagavata Dharma, which is to become a devotee of the Lord. And what is the symptom of becoming a devotee of the Lord? You immediately become humble, humility. So that was missing. So basically, Rama Harshana was basically he had the pride because he was selected by all the Brahmanas to sit on the Vyasasan, and so that's why he felt that he need not, he became equal to the Supreme Lord, then he need not offer obeisances to Balram who was there. But imagine if Ramaharshana was a devotee, he would have understood what Bhagavata Dharma is, and he doesn't would not have cared about much about the strict rules and regulations of the Vedas, which is also mentioned as flowery language by Krishna himself. And he would immediately become stand up and offer his obeisances, and Lord Balrama would have blessed him and given more benedictions to continue his preaching. But because he did not do that, and Lord Balrama was he considered his birth, he saw that he is born of a Kshatriya, and even if he was, if he, let's say, if he was a Brahmana himself by birth, then maybe Balrama would have spared him because he was a Brahmana, and by default, Brahmanas with the Varnashrama system established by Krishna himself, they are supposed to be greater than Kshatriyas, which is either if you consider Lord Balarama as a king equal to a Kshatriya, or if you consider him as a covered boy, which is Vaishya. So at that time, you would have left him. But he saw that he was a Kshatriya, born of a Kshatriya father, so he would be a Kshatriya. And even in that scenario, a Kshatriya should offer obeisances to another Kshatriya, and that did not happen. So he wanted to punish Ramaharshana for his offense, and he just picks a small piece of kusha grass and he just touches that to Ramaharshana's throat, and Ramaharshana immediately falls dead. And when this was happening, all the sages were shocked to see that because when they started this sacrifice, Swadhyaya Yagna means to discuss about the spiritual topics. They gave their benediction. May this person sitting on the Vyasasan have a long life and live until this sacrifice is completed. And when this happened, they were like, oh, they say, oh, Balarama, you, and they did not even, they did not worry about protesting to Lord Balarama because they felt that their benedictions were nullified. So they, out of anxiety, they say, Balarama, you actually killed a Brahmana. Because from their perspective, he was having the Brahmanical qualities of Vedic knowledge and all. But he was basically a Brahmana, but not a Vaishnava. But anyway, going back, so they say that you, now you made the sacrifice at risk. So what, please, you being the Supreme Lord, please help us out of this situation. Lord Balarama says that, okay, I understand your anxiety. If you want, I can bring him back to life. Then the sages that are there, they say that, oh Lord Balarama, we don't. You showed your wonderful pastime by just taking one piece of grass and using a piece of grass to take somebody's life. We don't want that to go back, but at the same time, you have to make our benediction stand. We have to let the sacrifice continue. So this was very ambiguous. How is it possible? So they leave it to Lord Balram to solve that. And Lord Balram, being the Supreme Lord himself, he solves it in a manner that is befitting his exalted position by appointing Ramaharshana's son, who is Suta Goswami, onto the, because it is considered that there is no difference between the father and the son, and any benediction that the father gets the son, if they continue, it is the same. So the Suta Goswami, on the other hand, is actually Vaishnava. He is very humble. He's always very favorable to the devotees and all. He follows. He has additional qualities than his father, which is being more humble and all. So that kind of worked out where Balrama establishes Suta Goswami on the Vyasasan, and he asks that he will continue the sacrifice. And he says that all your benediction will now apply to Suta Goswami, where he will be there until the sacrifice completes. And that discussion keeps on going, and to the point where Suta Goswami was also discussing about the Srimad Bhagavatam to all the sages in the Naimisharanya. So that completes the pastime of Ramaharshana with killing by Lord Balrama. And then the sages continue saying that, oh Balrama, that we also, and yeah, Balrama gives some benediction to the sages So now that I have created some anxiety in you, what do you want? I can give you any benediction. Then the Brahmanas say that, oh, Balarama, like every fortnight, every 14 days, a demon comes and creates hindrances to our sacrifice here. He throws stool, pus, all the or urine and all these bad things on the sacrificial or this place where this is going on, and we have to spend so much time cleaning it up after. Can you take care of it? So then Balarama says no problem, and he, as soon as the demon, his name is Bhalvala, appears, he immediately throws his plow, pulls him down, and kills him with his club very easily. And yeah, the demon appeared like a huge mountain falling down, and he has orange hair and orange mustache and beard. It appeared like some copper covering of the mountain. But anyway, so when he dies, the sages thank Balrama, and Balrama continues on his pilgrimage. So after there are so many places that Lord Balram visited. So he kind of visits whole of India. So all the way from North India, East India, South India, West India, and then he goes back to Pravasa Tirtha. Um, but so some of the places he visits are even like in Andhra Pradesh. Like he goes to the banks of Godavari, then he goes to um, Rameshwaram. He also goes to Kanyakumari. He goes to like the list is so big, and he basically shows that how a um, person on a pilgrimage should take like he shows the duties of a person. Like when they go on a pilgrimage, they should visit all the places and offer obeisances. He even visits some of the demigods temple, but being playing as a role as a human being, he shows as an example that what the different people have to do when they go on a pilgrimage. And then once he goes back after a year kind of thing, where I think from the time standpoint to the Pravasa Tirtha, he hears from the Brahmanas that most of the Kshatriyas in the Battle of Kurukshetra have been killed. And then he immediately then feels relieved because the purpose of their appearance has taken place, which is to reduce the burden of this Mother Earth from this very passionate Kshatriyas. And if you actually think that Mother Earth will have burden when there is so much population, right? But even from a scientific standpoint, you are not bringing any additional weight from outside space onto Earth. Whatever population is already there, it is the same Earth that is converting into human bodies and staying. So the weight is not the matter. But when someone says that Mother Earth is feeling the burden, it is because of the adharma, means the exploitatory activities or the people who very much try to do bad things or try to exploit, um, cause suffering to the other living beings. That is what causes burden. And whenever Mother Earth goes and puts a petition for Lord Brahma or Lord Vishnu through Lord Brahma, it is that the times when the adharma in the society has increased and Mother Earth feels a burden. When adharma is increases, that is the burden that is referred to here. So when all the Kshatriya kings are trying to exploit Earth by causing suffering to all, this Kurukshetra battle had to happen, and the burden on the Earth had to be reduced. And Krishna uses the Kuru dynasty, the Pandavas and Kauravas, to initiate that battle, in which whole of the different kingdoms from the entire Earth participate, and most of them get killed. So, but he still sees that law. It's coming. It's still going on. Where finally he comes to the. He ends the pilgrimage when he reaches. It is Duryodhana and Bhima fighting with each other, and he even goes there and he gives one more attempt. Hey guys, you guys have been fighting for so long. Like at least stop now, because from Balrama's assessment, he says that Bhima, you are a strong personality. Nobody can beat you in terms of your strength. And at the same time, he turns to Duryodhana and he says that from the club fighting, nobody can beat you because I personally taught you. So He says that if you both fight, the battle will never end, and it will be unnecessary waste of time. For it, it takes goes for a long time, and there will not be a clear winner. Why waste your time? Stop it. But then Bhima and Duryodhana are so much in anger towards each other that they don't even listen to him. And Balarama says, "Okay, I will leave these guys off," and then he goes back to city of Dwaraka. And when he goes to Dwaraka, like all the residents of Dwaraka, they give him a grand welcome and were very much happy to see him come back from the pilgrimage. And Sukadeva Goswami says that whoever listens to these pastimes of Lord Balrama, they will be very much blessed, and soon will have all the devotional service manifest in them. And then Maharaj Parikshit says that thank you so much, Sukadeva Goswami, for telling all these pastimes of Krishna and Balrama. I want to hear some of the sweet pastimes of Krishna, because just like Ambarish Maharaj was saying, he engages all his years. So Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj also says, what is the use of the years if we don't listen to the pastimes of Krishna? What is the use of this tongue if we don't speak about that? So I want to hear about these pastimes. And he says that anything that is he uses two words, which is Vishanna and Visheshagna, which means that if we are not listening to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, it is unnecessary anxiety. Vishanna is the anxiety that materialists experience, where they're constantly thinking about how do I get more money, how do I take care of my family, how do I build a house, even though they have all the things that they can be happy about, they still want more, 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 and that anxiety is always there. And on the other hand, Visheshagna means even though some of the transcendentalists have the Vishesha or the knowledge, it is about not about it. He is telling about the impersonalists who don't have the satisfaction. They don't get the satisfaction. They are always trying to endeavor for that impersonal liberation, but that is very hard, and they fall down in between. And they don't have the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, so their efforts are very difficult, and and they also feel so much anxiety. And he says that only the devotees of the Supreme Lord, always in whichever condition they are, they feel always transcendental in this one. And hearing these statements, Sukadeva Goswami kind of goes into a very ecstasy, because he feels that Maharaj Parikshit has understood the Vaishnava philosophy, which is, even we know Sukadeva Goswami was a Brahmavadi or an impersonalist before he becomes a devotee. He does so much meditation from within the womb itself, and he doesn't get the satisfaction, but only when he becomes a devotee, he gets the full satisfaction. So we don't have to look elsewhere or where when we want to compare or anything. We just take the example of Sukadeva Goswami. He tried all those things. And the fact that we are all devotees now, or at least trying to be devotees, means that we have been these impersonalists in the past life, or even this karma yoga, gnana yoga, all these things. We tried all those things. We are in trying to reach the last step, which is go back home, back to Godhead by becoming Mahatmas, because Bahunam Janmanamante, it is very rare to get this form of a devotee. But sometimes, why do we have to worry about, hey, I did not try this Ashtanga yoga, or should I try this Gnana yoga, should I try this Karma yoga? No. Why do you want to waste time? These are like second class, third class. You are in 10th class. Why do you go back to those previous classes? We might have already tried that. And scripture says that if someone comes to the point of Bhakti yoga, they already surpassed all those Gnana yoga, Dhyana yoga, Ashtanga yoga, or Karma yoga concepts. So just because we don't remember now doesn't mean that we have to go back and try. So we just use our time, whatever we have, to immediately take the process of Bhakti yoga and hear to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And that's when um, Sukadeva Goswami starts revealing or starts sharing about the sweet pastime of the Lord Krishna, which is with his childhood friend Sudama. So Sudama was a poor Brahmana, and he was a great devotee. So even though he was poor, he was not feeling any anxiety. He doesn't have any thing to worry about. And his wife is also very much supportive of him. and his wife doesn't worry about not having any money. So they both are happily living. And Sudama, he is when Krishna and Balram go to Gurukul, which is Sandipa Muni's ashram. Sudama was also a student at the time, and Krishna and Sudama, they were very good friends. They became good friends, and yeah, Sudama, he was very much established in knowledge. So you see the difference here between Ramaharshana and a devotee. Even though he had all the knowledge, he did not use that knowledge at all. He understood that it is uh, being the devotee, and since he was a devotee, he doesn't any endeavor anything for material possessions. So that is a symptom of a devotee. A devotee doesn't strive hard for getting material possessions, but then we will see later that how Krishna will give the material opulence automatically. So it is a byproduct. It is not something that one strives for. And as soon as Krishna, if someone is Krishna and Krishna consciousness, these material opulences or liberation, because these are byproducts, they immediately come. But they don't appear to come in the initial process. We will see how. So then they are not having so much food to eat, their bodies are weak. And his wife, she starts a little worried about her husband, saying that yeah, so she starts feeling a little bit worried about her husband's health. So she approaches her husband humbly and says that, "Oh, my dear Lord, you are very good friends with Krishna, and you are a devotee of Krishna, and Krishna likes you both like each other. Um, your shelter, Krishna's lotus feet is your shelter. Why don't you just go and meet Krishna? And he, being the Supreme Lord, he knows, he will immediately understand your situation, and he will give you some material opulence, and you can come, we can at least use that to render more service, and then live happily." But then Sudama, he doesn't want to take advantage of his relationship or the friendship that he has with Krishna, and he still doesn't take any action. But then his wife keeps on repeating, and we don't have to find any fault with his wife, because his wife is concerned about her husband's health. And she, also being a devotee, she also knows that the opulence that comes is not for her own self benefit, but for the continuing to render more service. And Sudama understands her real intention. He knows that, and since she was repeating herself many times, he thinks about himself. Okay, let me go and use this opportunity to at least visit my childhood friend. I'm not going to ask anything, but I will use this opportunity to take a darshan of the Supreme Lord, and seeing him after so long will give me so much pleasure. So he immediately starts to go, and as per any customs, you cannot go empty-handed if you are going somewhere. So he asks his wife, "Hey, can you give me something where I want to give it to Krishna?" His wife, she immediately goes to the neighbors' houses and bring four palmfuls of puffed rice, chip rice. Yeah, so atukulu they say and then it's flat rice. She puts it in a cloth and then she packs it and gives it. So Sudama takes it and then he starts walking towards the city of Dwarka, and it has so many layers of gates, and he passes through one after another. And it is very, very difficult to meet Krishna, but then Krishna is um, um, he likes the Brahmanas, Go Brahmana Hitayacha. So he likes the cows and Brahmanas very well. So in his city, there is no restriction for Brahmanas. Brahmanas can pass through the gates and reach Krishna easily. So none of the guards they stop him. He goes through one gate after other, and finally when he was reaching the gate where Krishna is palace is, Krishna, even from far away, he sees that this Brahmana is walking, and he immediately recognizes it is Sudama. And he immediately goes towards the entrance and he receives him very well. He actually embraces Sudama. And it is mentioned that Krishna doesn't embrace anybody else other than Balrama and Rukmini. So when he embraced Sudama, all the people who are watching was very much shocked. oh, who is this Brahmana where Krishna is embracing him? He generally Krishna doesn't embrace anyone, but he embraced this Brahmana, so he might be an very exalted Brahmana. Krishna receives Sudama, he takes him inside, and he actually makes Sudama sit on the same bed that was meant for Krishna and Rukmini to sit. And then Sudama sits on the bed, and then Krishna takes some water and he washes Sudama's feet, and he applies that feet on. He takes that water and sprinkles it on his head. Then all the assistants of the maid servants that are there are very much shocked to see all what Krishna is doing. Who is this Brahmana that Krishna is taking care of him like as if he is.
Prabhuji, your voice is going up and down now. Is there any change in your settings?
Oh, no, Prabhuji, like, can we come closer? Maybe is it any better now?
Yeah, that is better. Sometimes it's going up, sometimes going down.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Um, yeah, so Krishna sprinkles the water on his forehead, and then Mother Rukmini, she starts fanning Sudama, and Sudama was very much like he feels a little awkward that Krishna was doing all this to him, and then but yeah, he feels happy to see Krishna after a very long time, and they both exchange. They start discussing about their childhood past, the activities that they did, and Krishna brings up the childhood story where um, both Krishna and Sudama, they go to the forest to collect some firewood for their spiritual master Sandipa Manmuni. And when they go in, the forest is engulfed with a severe storm and heavy downpour of rain, and it starts flooding. And Krishna and Sudama, they hold hands with each other and walk through the water, and they get lost in the forest. And the next day morning, Sandipa Muni, he sends his all his other disciples, and they go and in search of Krishna and Sudama. They find them in the middle of the forest, and rescue them. And then Sandipa Muni was very much satisfied with his disciples who wanted to render service to him by going to collect firewood, even the weather was not conducive. So he immediately says that whatever knowledge you both acquire will never be lost. So we know that any knowledge that we get, like in the third class, fourth class, we forget in sixth class. And any calculus or maths that we read, if we go back, we don't even remember. Even the same thing with spiritual knowledge, unless and until we keep practicing, we might forget. But the benediction that Krishna and Sudama has is any knowledge that they get from the Vedic scriptures, that will never be lost. And that's why if you see Sudama, even though he was very poor, that his knowledge on the Vedic Vedas was so strong. He knows the essence, which is to become a devotee. So he never left that, and he never felt dissatisfaction. He was always satisfied, always understood the position of Krishna, and he kept Krishna in his heart and rendered service. And finally, Krishna says that, "Oh, Sudama, you brought something for me. Like, what is it?" Because Krishna knows everything, and Sudama tries to hide it, saying that because Krishna with such opulence, how will it will not be good for him for me to offer. And then, but Krishna pulls out, takes the chipud rice or the puff rice that flat rice that Sudama has brought, and he starts taking. He takes one handful and takes it. And as soon as he takes it, Sudama doesn't know, but back in his town or the village, his small hut transforms into a huge palace. And then when he was about to take the next handful, Rukmini immediately holds Krishna's hand and he says, "Please, Lord, please stop," because even with just one handful, so much opulence was already there, already was given to Sudama. And some of the acharyas explain that as soon as Krishna feels satisfied by the service, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, immediately, which is here Mother Rukmini, she immediately takes the responsibility of giving all the opulence to the devotee. And the more Krishna is satisfied, the more opulence Mother Lakshmi or goddess of fortune feels obliged to give to the devotee. So within one morsel, all the opulence was given, and if he keeps taking more and more morsels, Mother Rukmini, she has to give more and more. It becomes more challenging, or in the sense that not it becomes not challenging, but it becomes more and more opulence has to be given, which she has to give. So she immediately stops with Krishna. It's enough that so much opulence was already given. And then Sudama feels very happy that Krishna took the flat rice from him, and then he starts his journey back. So one of the things we can understand from this pastime is, unless and until we are fixed in Krishna consciousness, Krishna will not accept anything from us, even though we are offering. And Krishna, the same shloka he tells in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prayachita Taham Bhakti Bhakaratam Asnami Prayatatmanaha. He repeats the exact same words before taking the what Sudama brought, saying that if anyone offers me its love and devotion, I accept it immediately. So, if Krishna accepts the anything that we have, then all the opulences come to us. So immediately, initially, when a devotee might doing some start doing some service, they might ask Krishna for some opulence. Krishna would not give right away. The demigods might give some, but Krishna is on the other hand, he would not, because the only intention that, or the only goal, or the only thing that Krishna wants from a devotee is the devotee does not fall down. And if Krishna knows that any opulence that a devotee would get will be risking or will cause a risk of the devotee falling down, he will not give at all. But the demigods don't know that, so demigods might give the opulence if we reach. But if we approach Krishna, he will wait, and only when we reach to the point of being a sthita prajna, means fixed in devotional service, and getting whatever opulence will not make us fall down, then Krishna will give all the opulence that we need. So we all should not feel very much sad or very much demotivated that I have been doing so much devotional service, but I'm not getting any money. Like other devotees are getting money. No, like no comparison. It is just that Krishna knows he is Bhavagrahi Janardana. He knows within our heart what our different desires or whatever emotions or what our subconscious is, and he knows that if a person gets a opulence, if the person is going to fall down, then Krishna will not give that. So unless and until we come to that stage, we keep on doing sadhana, then you will see that some devotees, they get so much opulence because Krishna knows that it won't impact them. But if some devotees are not getting that, it's also sometimes a pastime where Krishna wants to show the other devotees that, see this devotee, he doesn't have any opulence, but his heart is with me. So he always renders service to me, as example, so that other devotees might take a example and keep serving more and more and reach to that level of fixed devotional service. So with that, when Sudama goes back and he goes back to the place where his house was instead of his small hut. He sees a huge palace and he wonders if he came to the right place or not. Then immediately, as soon as he reaches, his wife, along with the servants look like the devatas. They come and receive Sudama with all the opulence, like in garlands, like nice water being sandalwood pulp and all, and they receive him, and they happily use that opulence in rendering more service and proceeding further in their spiritual journey. So that concludes the sweet pastime of Krishna with his childhood friend Sudama, which also is the end of the chapter 81 that we were discussing today. Any questions, comments, or realizations you want to share, anyone? Please share.
Okay, so
Hare,
yeah,
Hare
but
Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, it was a great session also. I have a few questions. One is regarding the Jai Vijay, like Shishupal Kantakakra. That was the last, demonic birth for them, and then after they killed by Lord Krishna, they might have go back to again to Vaikuntha or Vrindavan. But in between yugas, like let's say first was Satya Yuga, there Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. After the kill, Tritiya Yuga, when Ravana and Shishupala came, so there are long gap. During that time, they would be in the spiritual world or will be in material world. I
Yeah,
like those.
so yeah, that's a good question. So, if they fell down from Vaikuntha planet, which means that they're in the material world. So between the times, this whole material manifestation is nothing but Mahavishnu's Mahatattva, right? So between these manifestations, they would be going back to Mahavishnu's body and coming back. But after this manifestation, they will go back to Vaikuntha, which is the spiritual world.
Got it, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, another question is regarding Sudama. When Lord Krishna was having that rice which Sudama brought, so after two times checking, so Mother Rukmani stopped. The reason behind, like a person in material world, whatever opulence they supposed to need, it was fulfilled, or any other reason?
It is after only one handful, she stops him because even mother, like Rukmini, she also is a little bit worried that too much opulences might also impact the devotee, right? So she also was worried if Krishna. It's like a sweet pastime where Krishna wants to give more, and sometimes mother wants to check, saying that if the devotee gets more, he will stop rendering service to Krishna, like that.
Okay, that means so there was a chance like Sudama might have been
No, it is not
radiated.
there is no chance, but out of love only, right? If the mother wants to give more and more, the father might say that, oh, if you give more and more, the child will become fat and he will have to get health problems. It's not that whether the child eats more, they will for sure get health problems, but out of concern, right? It doesn't mean that the child bodies can handle more and more food, but the father would not doesn't know that, but he out of caution they do it. So it doesn't mean that Sudama would for sure fall down, but out of love, Mother Rukmini says that, oh, you already gave so much opulence, that's good enough.
Got it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Okay, so I appreciate Patita Prabhu so much. He just traveled back from India without any jet lag. He gave a wonderful class. So let's thank him by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you very much for joining, everyone. We'll immerse more and more Krishna Katha. Tomorrow morning we'll have a Bhagavatam class as usual 6:30 a.m. and the evening Krishna Kathamritam. And we will have more programs. This year we are doing 2-day celebration, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday we'll have actual day of Janmashtami, 7:45 to 12 midnight. We will have a very elaborate Abhishekam, Kirtan, glorifications, devotee appreciations, and Arati, discourse. So much are there. And the next day, Sunday, August 17th, we are celebrating Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So there will be Guru Arati, flower offerings, and glorifications of Srila Prabhupada, and then sumptuous feast. In the evening, 5:45 p.m. onwards, 5:45 to 9 p.m., we will have a very wonderful festivity for public. It will have a dance, drama, abhishekam, julan, dioramas, discourse, so many things. So I encourage all of you join and take services as much as possible and relish the great festival of ISKCON. So Janmashtami is the biggest festival in ISKCON. So I encourage all of you participate and encourage all your neighborhood friends relatives to join festivity on 17th at Franklin Township Community Hall. Thank you very much. Let's chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra enthusiastically and wind up the class. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagavan Sri Krishna Paramatma ki jai. Kandaras भागवतम की जय, सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.